I have observed that men believe themselves masters of their fortunes when their purses are full. Yet in truth, it is the purse that commands the man. Therefore, if I desire to govern a state without drawing the sword, I first learn to govern the flow of money, for gold moves the will more quietly than armies and more faithfully than oaths. I do not begin with treasuries, but with hearts. Men are led by fear of loss more strongly than by hope of gain. A ruler who understands this does not merely distribute wealth. He arranges the conditions under which loss seems always near, and relief comes only through obedience. Thus, gratitude binds them in appearance, but anxiety binds them in fact. Between these two cords, the people walk where I wish. I have written that it is safer to be feared than loved, if one must choose. In matters of money, fear is best dressed in the garments of necessity. I do not say, I take. I say, the times require. I do not say, you owe me. I say, the safety of all depends upon your contribution. Men will pardon what they think is fate, and they will resist what they know is will. Therefore, I make my will appear as fortune, and my design as circumstance. Whoever controls money must also control appearances, for wealth is as much imagination as metal. A coin is obeyed not for its substance, but for the belief surrounding it. If I preserve that belief, I may alter the substance as I please. If I disturb belief, even full coffers become dust. Thus, I guard confidence as a general guards supply lines, for without it the army of commerce deserts without battle. I ensure that prosperity seems to come from my order and disorder from disobedience. When trade flourishes, I am seen as the source of stability. When hardship strikes, I show that deviation from my counsel brought it forth. In this way, events become arguments in my favor. The people rarely examine causes deeply. They judge by what they see joined together. I therefore join my rule to their comfort and their errors to their pain. A wise prince does not impoverish all, nor enrich all. Either course is dangerous. If all are poor, they despair and may revolt. If all are rich, they grow proud and forget their dependence. I keep them in a middle condition, sufficient comfort to fear losing it, sufficient strain to seek protection. Thus, money becomes a leash they hold themselves. I divide interests so that no single force may command the whole. Merchants desire one policy, soldiers another, nobles another, and the common people yet another. I do not crush these differences. I cultivate them. Each group looks to me as arbiter of its advantage. So long as they contend, I remain necessary. If ever they unite, I become dispensable. Therefore, I let money flow in channels that cross and conflict, never in a single river that may sweep me away. In republics, I have seen how ambition hides behind virtue. Men speak of the public good while seeking private profit. I make use of this nature. I reward those who clothe their gain in service to the state. Others then imitate the appearance, and in striving to seem useful, they become so in fact. Thus I purchase virtue with profit, and no man feels bought, though all are. I never attack greed openly, for it is a force I employ. Instead, I guide it. I create honors that require expense, offices that demand display, and customs that consume wealth. The ambitious exhaust themselves seeking distinction, and their resources return, by many roads, to the order I control. They believe they rise. I know they circulate. It is also necessary that the people believe money moves according to laws beyond any one man. If they see my hand too clearly, they will hate it. Therefore, I establish rules, councils, and procedures. Decisions appear to arise from deliberation, not command. Yet I arrange the parts so that the outcome rarely surprises me. This is warfare of the mind. I win before the struggle is known. Just as in war, I avoid direct confrontation when a circuitous path achieves more. If I must burden the people, I do so in many small measures rather than one great blow. A single heavy tax breeds outrage, many light ones pass as custom. Men notice what is sudden, not what is gradual. Time is my ally when force would be my enemy. I study carefully who depends upon the flow of money. Those whose fortunes rise and fall with the state's order become its defenders. I bind the powerful to me by making their wealth inseparable from my stability. If they plot against me, they imperil themselves. Thus, loyalty grows not from love, but from calculation, which is more enduring. Yet I take care that no subject grows so wealthy that he may purchase independence. When one approaches such height, I assign him burdens equal to his fortune, honors that consume his time, or rivalries that divide his strength. I do not destroy him unless he becomes openly dangerous, for sudden ruin of the great alarms the rest. Instead, I thin his power as a gardener prunes a tree enough that it lives, not enough that it overshadows. The people judge with their eyes, therefore I show public works, festivals, and visible benefits, even when the treasury strains. What is seen persuades more than what is counted. Meanwhile, I am frugal where sight does not reach. A prince who appears generous while being measured in secret gains reputation without ruin. I remember always that money is promise. When I borrow from the future, I ensure that the future is still mine. If I weaken authority today for ease, tomorrow will not repay me. Better to endure present difficulty than to surrender command over what is to come. A ruler who mortgages his authority for comfort soon pays with his throne. Men are proud. They do not wish to feel ruled. Therefore I let them choose between paths whose end I have already determined. I present policies as necessities of trade, demands of defense, or expectations of honor. They debate the means, never the direction. In believing they decide, they defend what I have arranged. In times of crisis, I act swiftly and decisively, for uncertainty is the enemy of financial order. When confidence trembles, hesitation multiplies fear. A bold remedy, though harsh, restores belief that someone commands events. Men prefer a strong hand they understand to chaos they cannot. Yet I do not rely solely on fear. Hope is also a tool. I promise improvement, opportunity, advancement. Few achieve what they imagine, but many strive. Their effort enriches the state and occupies their minds. Busy men plot less. Ambition harnessed is more useful than ambition suppressed. I watch carefully the language of money. When the people speak of fairness, they mean their own advantage. When they speak of injustice, they mean loss. I translate their complaints into measures that relieve some while strengthening my hold. Thus, discontent becomes instruction. Above all, I ensure that obedience appears profitable and resistance costly. If a man prospers by aligning with my order, others imitate him. If another suffers by opposing it, few follow. Examples teach more effectively than decrees. Therefore, I make rewards and punishments visible in their effects, though hidden in their design. This governance of money is a silent campaign. I array incentives as others array troops. I fortify confidence, harass opposition with scarcity, divide alliances with unequal advantage, and secure loyalty through shared interest. Battles are fought in expectations, not fields. If I succeed, the people say, fortune favors us. The great say, the prince is prudent. Only I know that fortune has been guided, prudence staged, and wealth made to march in the formation I chose. Such is the art, to rule the means by which men live, and to do so in such a way that they believe they live by their own will. I do not neglect the education of desire, For what men wish to possess determines how they may be governed. If they crave only bread, they are simple to command, but prone to riot when hungry. If they crave luxury, status, and distinction, their own appetites become chains. Therefore, I encourage refinements of taste, new standards of comfort, and comparisons among neighbors. A man who measures himself against another is never at rest, and in his restlessness he labors within the structures I provide. I allow the belief that wealth is a sign of virtue and poverty a sign of failure, though I know fortune distributes blindly. This belief makes men discipline themselves more harshly than I ever could. They rise early, toil late, and guard their conduct, fearing disgrace. Thus, reputation, which costs the state nothing, becomes a second currency, and I am master of both. I am careful also in the matter of debt, for debt is obedience extended into the future. A man who owes shapes his actions around obligation. Yet I do not wish all men crushed by it, for desperation breeds recklessness. I prefer a balance. Enough burden that they remain cautious. Enough hope that they remain industrious. In this tension, they remain governable. The circulation of money must resemble the circulation of blood, constant, unseen, life-giving. If it pools in one place, corruption follows. If it drains away, weakness spreads. I intervene not always by command, but by influence, adjusting conditions so that flow corrects itself. When the people believe the system moves naturally, they do not look for the hand that guides it. I have seen that sudden enrichment is as dangerous as sudden ruin. A man lifted too quickly forgets dependence and believes himself favored by destiny alone. Therefore, I let advancement appear gradual, tied to effort, service, or time. In this way, those who rise attribute their success to the order of the state, not to chance. And they defend that order fiercely. In governing money, secrecy in design and clarity in result are both necessary. I may conceal the causes, but the effects must be intelligible. If prosperity appears without explanation, it is called luck. If hardship appears without cause, it is called tyranny. I ensure that every outcome can be told as a story favorable to authority, even if the true story differs. I take care that the instruments of finance appear independent. Officials, councils, and institutions must seem to act according to rules, not favor. Yet I influence who leads them, what principles guide them, and which dangers they most fear. Thus I steer the ship, while others are seen at the helm. It is useful also that the people believe in cycles, times of growth and times of austerity. When restraint is required, I call it a season. Men endure seasons because they expect change. If hardship is endless, they rebel. If it is temporary, they wait. By shaping expectation, I shape endurance. I never forget that envy is a fire among men. If one group visibly thrives while another suffers, resentment threatens order. Therefore, I permit difference, but I temper its display. The wealthy must seem useful, charitable, or burdened with responsibility. If they appear merely indulgent, the poor will not tolerate them, and I will be forced into harsh measures. Wherever possible, I make advancement competitive rather than collective. If many pursue the same reward, they hinder one another. Their rivalry consumes energy that might otherwise turn toward opposition. Each thinks of surpassing his neighbor, not challenging the structure above both. I employ uncertainty as a tool, but never confusion. If rules change unpredictably, fear becomes panic. But if outcomes are uncertain while rules remain clear, men strive harder. They accept the game and blame themselves for loss. Thus, risk disciplines them without breeding hatred. A prince must also understand the power of generosity when timed well. A well-placed remission, a public gift, or relief in distress binds memory to authority. Men remember who eased their burden in crisis longer than who imposed it in calm. I therefore store acts of mercy as a general stores reserves, to be used at decisive moments. I observe carefully who interprets economic matters for the people: merchants, scholars, officials. These men shape understanding. I cultivate them, reward those who speak of stability and prudence, and discredit those who preach alarm without solution. Opinion about money often matters more than money itself. In all these things, I follow a principle from war. The best victory is that which leaves the enemy unaware he has been defeated. When men accept limits as normal, burdens as necessary, and opportunities as gifts of the existing order, resistance fades. They defend the very arrangements that constrain them. Yet I remain vigilant, for fortune is changeable. A ruler who believes his system permanent invites ruin. I watch for new desires, new fears, new ambitions, and I adapt. To cling to old measures when circumstances shift is to lose control. Flexibility in method preserves constancy in power. Finally, I remind myself that the purpose of controlling money is not money itself, but command over human conduct. Wealth is a means, not an end. If ever I seek riches without regard to order, I become like the men I rule, driven, not directing. A prince must stand above the currents he guides. Thus I teach. Govern the imagination of wealth, not merely its substance. Bind prosperity to obedience, hardship to necessity, and hope to the future you promise. Arrange interests so that men pursue their desires along the roads you have built. Let them feel free, ambitious, and responsible, while the structure of their striving rests in your design. In this manner, you command without seeming to command, and money becomes the quiet instrument of enduring power. I also consider how memory governs men as much as present need. A people remembers former prosperity and former suffering, and by comparison judges its condition. Therefore I shape not only the present, but the past as it is told. I remind them of disorder before my rule, of instability without firm direction, and of the dangers that once threatened their livelihood. In this way, current burdens appear lighter, and present order seems a safeguard purchased at fair cost. I understand that trust in money is trust in tomorrow. If men fear that tomorrow will not honor today's effort, they withdraw into hoarding or despair. Thus, I guard continuity above brilliance. Sudden experiments, though clever, may disturb faith. It is better to advance in measures that appear natural extensions of what already exists. Stability is a greater marvel than innovation, though less praised. A ruler must also know when to allow complaint. If men cannot speak of hardship, they imagine it greater than it is. If they may voice grievances within bounds, they release pressure without breaking structure. I permit discussion of difficulties, while ensuring that remedies always return to the necessity of my order. Thus, speech becomes a safety valve, not a weapon. I have learned that ceremonies surrounding money are not trivial. Markets, courts, official proclamations, and rituals of exchange all impress upon the mind a sense of order. When forms are respected, men assume substance is secure. Therefore, I preserve outward dignity even when inward adjustments are required. Appearances are the armor of authority. In times of abundance, I restrain excess celebration, for luxury breeds softness and forgetfulness of danger. I remind the people, gently, that fortune turns. In times of scarcity, I restrain despair, pointing to signs of endurance and recovery. By moderating extremes of emotion, I keep judgment within limits favorable to rule. I am attentive to youth, for their expectations shape the future climate of obedience. If they believe advancement comes only through disorder, they will seek upheaval. If they see paths, however narrow, within the existing structure, they will direct ambition there. Thus, education, opportunity, and honor for the young are investments not merely in prosperity, but in stability. It is useful that the people distinguish between the state and those who serve it. When errors occur, I allow blame to fall upon ministers or circumstances, while the image of the overarching order remains intact. This division preserves reverence for authority, even when particular acts displease. In war, one sacrifices a unit to save the army. In governance, one sacrifices reputation of parts to save the whole. I also ensure that foreign trade and external relations reinforce internal control. Dependence on outside forces can weaken a state, but selective interconnection can strengthen authority. When prosperity seems tied to wise management of external ties, the prince appears guardian not only of order but of opportunity beyond the borders. I never forget that chance events, harvests, disasters, discoveries may disrupt careful design. When fortune intervenes, I claim partnership with it. Success is presented as foresight fulfilled, failure as misfortune bravely met. In this way, even what I did not plan becomes material for my authority. The wise ruler measures not only wealth accumulated, but expectations formed. If expectations outrun reality, disappointment breeds unrest. Therefore, I promise less than might be achieved, and achieve more than promised when possible. Surplus of fulfillment strengthens trust. Surplus of promise weakens it. I do not allow the people to see the full extent of the state's resources, nor the full extent of its limits. Complete transparency invites challenge. Complete obscurity breeds rumor. I reveal enough to sustain confidence, conceal enough to preserve flexibility. Knowledge, like money, must be distributed with calculation. Above all, I maintain the appearance that the order of money reflects justice. Even when measures are unequal, they must be explainable as serving stability, security, or the common good. Men endure inequality more readily than they endure perceived arbitrariness. Reason, or the image of it, softens necessity. In these arts there is no final victory, only continued vigilance. Human desires renew themselves, fears change shape, ambitions seek new roads. To control money is to stand at the crossroads of these forces and direct their movement without seeming to bar the way. It is a labor without rest, but the reward is dominion without constant bloodshed. Thus I conclude, he who commands the perceptions surrounding wealth commands the conduct of men. He who shapes expectation shapes effort. He who binds advantage to obedience secures loyalty more durable than affection. Let force remain in reserve, visible but seldom used. Let guidance be subtle, arrangements firm, and appearances favorable. In such a state, men believe themselves actors in their own fortune, while the design of their striving rests in the mind of the ruler. This is the quiet art by which power endures when swords are sheathed, and the true treasury of a prince is found not only in gold, but in the governed desires of his people.